مساء الخير لجميع الحضور، يسعدني أن أرحب بكم في ندوتنا الثالثة من سلسلة ندوات مبادرة صناع السياحة لعام 2021. معكم وئام الدخيل، صحفية ومقدمة أخبار وبرامج، وسأكون مقدمة هذه الندوة على مدار الساعة القادمة، والتي ستضيف لكم إن شاء الله الكثير في كيفية إتقان التسويق الخاص بكم، وذلك من خلال طرح الأسئلة والنقاش مع ضيوفنا المختصين. بداية أود أن أشكر الهيئة السعودية للسياحة على هذه المبادرة، والتي بلا شك تخدم منشآت القطاع الخاص الصغيرة والمتوسطة لإدراك الفرص المتاحة في القطاع السياحي. طبعا لا شك أن قطاع السياحة قطاع حيوي وواحد من أكبر القطاعات الاقتصادية والصناعات الأكثر تأثيرا في العالم اليوم، حيث تستحوذ السياحة على ما نسبته 10% من الوظائف المحلية والناتج المحلي الإجمالي، وتعد أكثر المجالات تنافسية بوتيرة متسارعة. وقد خلق ذلك ضرورة حتمية للشركات في هذا القطاع تحديداً لتسويق خدماتها بشكل فعال للعملاء الذين يرغبون في جذبهم. وأيضاً بلا شك تفتح هذه الديناميكية المتسارعة في عالم التسويق فرصاً جديدة. ولضمان النجاح في هذه البيئة التنافسية والمتسارعة، تحتاج الشركات لإيجاد طرق جديدة ومختلفة للتميز، وعلى رأسها أهمية وجود استراتيجية رقمية فعالة. طبعا قبل أن نبدأ، نود تذكيركم بالتحقق من الرموز الموجودة على الجانب الأيمن والأيسر للشاشة، وذلك للوصول إلى الترجمة الفورية. طرح الأسئلة في خانة الأسئلة والأجوبة Q&A على الجانب الأيمن للشاشة، إذ سيكون هناك جزئية من حوارنا مخصصة لأسئلتكم وسنطرحها على ضيوفنا، وأيضا التفاعل معنا عبر المشاركة في استطلاعات الرأي. والآن سنشارك معكم أول استطلاع. إذن في مجال عملك، ما هو العائق الأكبر في مجال التسويق الرقمي؟ هناك خيارات للإجابة: إنه مكلف للغاية، لست متأكداً من أفضل القنوات التي يمكنني استخدامها، ليس لدي وقت، تحدي مواكبة اتجاهات التسويق الرقمي، وأخيراً لا أصنف مبدعاً. وقبل أن نلتقي بضيوفنا اليوم، ينضم إلينا عبد الله الدخيل، ونبدأ معه بفقرة الأخبار من الهيئة السعودية للسياحة.
يا هلا وسهلا بشركاء الهيئة السعودية للسياحة، وفرصة جميلة أن نلتقي عبر الندوة الثالثة من صناع السياحة في هذا الشهر الفضيل. تستمر صناع السياحة، وهي مبادرة من الهيئة السعودية للسياحة لدعم ريادة الأعمال في المجال السياحي من خلال تزويد شركائنا بالأدوات والمهارات اللي تساعدهم في تنمية أعمالهم. تقديم ما يساعد في تحول وتطور صناعة السياحة في المستوى المحلي والعالمي. الفترة الماضية كانت حافلة جدا، قامت فيها الهيئة بحملة ترويجية على المستوى الدولي لرفع مستوى الوعي بالسعودية كوجهة سياحية عالمية ترفيهية للاستمرار في إلهام العالم بالمقومات والكنوز السياحية اللي موجودة في بلدنا. كما اختتمنا مؤخرا حملة دولية عبر الإنترنت بعنوان Journeys in Arabia، وهي مبادرة فريدة والأولى من نوعها قدمتها الهيئة السعودية للسياحة ل6 أسواق عالمية، وهي الشرق الأوسط والهند وألمانيا والمملكة المتحدة وروسيا والصين. شملت اجتماعات ونقاشات وعروض ترويجية افتراضية، استعرضت الشركاء والسياح حول العالم العديد من المنتجات والتجارب السياحية المتنوعة اللي تقدمها المملكة. وعلى مدى شهرين كانت النتائج مميزة، عقدت فيها الهيئة شراكات مع أكثر من 2800 شريك تجاري في قطاع السياحة والسفر، وشاركت في 3300 اجتماع، وتم تقديم ما يزيد عن 25 علامة تجارية سعودية من شركات سياحة وسفر وفنادق ومشاريع كبرى، تمثل كل منها جانباً مهماً في مكونات السياحة السعودية. وسنستمر في التركيز وبذل جهود لبناء الشراكات الدولية وحصد المزيد من النجاحات. وبعد أقل من أسبوعين من الآن ستشارك الهيئة السعودية للسياحة في ملتقى السفر العربي، وهو أحد أهم الأحداث العالمية الرائدة في صناعة السفر بالشرق الأوسط، ونسعى من خلاله لتعزيز الحضور السعودي لإبراز هوية السياحة السعودية وعرض الفرص الاستثمارية وبناء الشراكات المثمرة والتواصل مع القطاع السياحي على المستوى الإقليمي والعالمي، وهو ما يصب بالتالي في مصلحة شركائنا بالقطاع الخاص عبر فتح الآفاق والفرص مع استئناف الأنشطة السياحية قريبا بإذن الله. أما على المستوى المحلي، تركزت جهود الهيئة السعودية للسياحة خلال هذا العام لدعم الشركات المحلية في قطاع السياحة بتطوير العروض وبناء الطلب المحلي ووضع الأسس الراسخة لصناعة السياحة السعودية من خلال حملة صيف السعودية تنفس وحملة شتاء السعودية الشتاء حولك، اللي حققت المستهدفات تشجيع السياح المحليين والمقيمين على استكشاف المواقع والمعالم والكنوز السياحية اللي موجودة بالمملكة، مع نتائج فاقت التوقعات من حيث عدد الزيارات وزيادة الإنفاق وتزايد عدد الشركاء والعروض. وخلال الفترة القادمة كلنا أمل وتفاؤل مع اقتراب فتح الأسواق وقدوم موسم صيف السعودية بإذن الله في شهر يونيو لمزيد من الأخبار المبشرة لمنظومة السياحة السعودية وشركائها.
Up next, we have two very special guests, Khalid Tash and Chris Torres, who will be sharing with us some of their experiences around global best practices in digital marketing. Khalid Tash is the Vice President of Corporate Communications for Saudi Airlines and an expert marketeer. Chris Torres is an author, podcaster, brand and digital tourism expert. And Mohammed Al-Juwayan from STA will further be joining us to moderate this session. Welcome to you all. The mic to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Luan, for that introduction. And I'm extremely excited and glad and honored to be next to two of the marketing gurus, be it in Saudi and outside and internationally as well. Both of you, Khalid and Chris, have been around the block and have accumulated a huge marketing expertise that we definitely would like to share some with our audience this evening. Let's start with the polling question that we asked in the beginning of the session. We asked people and our audience, what are the big barriers when it comes to digital marketing and applying digital marketing strategies within their businesses as well. And we can see from the results that almost 45% said that it is expensive. I think that's a very, very good weave to start with you, Khalid. Khalid, with your experience, you've managed domestic brands and international brands as well in multiple industries. I'm sure part of your experience as well was leading on digital marketing strategies. How would you address the concern with our 35% saying that digital marketing is just so expensive?
So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you. Ramadan Kareem to everyone, and a pleasure to be with you, Chris. I think to answer the question, I think 2 points I'd like to start with. One is we're talking here today about tourism marketing, but really marketing is marketing. Across sectors, there are fundamentals that do not change. The fundamentals in marketing is you need to identify your target audience. You need to understand them very well. You need to provide them with a value proposition that addresses a need or a desire that they have, and you need to reach them in the best possible way through the right channels, through the right level of creative content that you and campaigns that you give them. And while it's difficult sometimes and people assume that marketing is expensive, I think that has a dual meaning. One is from the sheer think I'd leave that to Chris. He's probably more of an expert on that. But I'd like to talk about the creative element. Sometimes people think that to come up with a creative idea, you need to spend a lot of money. And I'd like to challenge that. I think the challenge today for creativity is that it needs to start from within. I'll give you one example. Of course, everyone knows that for us in Saudi Airlines, we're in the aviation business, we're in the travel business. The past year and a half have been kind of probably the worst crisis ever on the industry. Of course, by default, our budgets shrank significantly, if not kind of wiped out in many parts of the year and the year and a half previous period. So now, as we are trying to ramp up to reopening flights, Saudi Arabia announced that it will be kind of opening its skies again on May 17th. We're really looking forward to that. So we came up with a campaign that actually costed us zero. And we actually did not have any creative production for it. We came up with a hashtag with 2 words. Are your bags packed? Jahaztu shanab. And that was the most engaging, effective campaign that we had probably in recent history. We probably had campaigns where we produced videos and advertising content for multi-million dollar budgets and spent twice, if not more than that, on media budgets. But this simple hashtag, this simple creative that came from within is a testimony that you can do things that are right. So I would like to leave the audience with 2 key takeaways. One, marketing is marketing. Apply whatever you know about your audience. Apply whatever you think is the right value proposition. Digital channels have made it by default much easier for us. 10, 15 years ago, any business, any small or medium business did not have a chance to compete with the big giants, because just the threshold, the minimum requirement for you to go on an outdoor campaign or a print campaign or a TV campaign was way beyond the capability and the financial, let's say, capability of small and medium businesses. Today, digital changed all of that. And I think Chris can add to that a lot.
Yeah, I certainly can. No, marketing doesn't need to be expensive. It really does not. No, when you think about what's happened today in the digital landscape, the power is now in everyone's hands, the business owners' hands, the tourism businesses' hands. And the platforms that you can now market on are so much cheaper than they were 5, 10, 15 years ago. The reach is more targeted. The amount of people that you can get in front of is massive. You know, if you'd have thought back 10, 15 years ago when you're printing out brochures or sending out flyers, you were putting them out onto various establishments. You wouldn't know if that was going to hit your target market, whereas now you can pinpoint exactly who you wish to target for little money, in terms of if it was paid advertising, or if you're doing content, writing content, doing videos that you may film yourself on a GoPro or an iPhone or whatever you would use, that can be posted up on social media and various platforms for free as well. So marketing really nowadays does not need to cost the earth. Yes, you can spend as much money as you like, but again, you can do it absolutely free as well.
Definitely. Thank you, Chris. And before I introduce the second question, I just want to share with Khalid that I was one of the people that participated in your hashtag, and definitely my bags are packed to travel within Saudi Arabia, hopefully. Chris, going back to you, you've mentioned how digital evolutions did definitely change the environment of marketing. A lot of small and medium companies, most of them are here with us tonight, would like to expand their businesses. What are the 3 top questions that you would like to help them address and question in order for them to expand in marketing and business as well?
It's a good question. No, as Khaled mentioned, knowing your audience, knowing your target audience is absolutely key before you think about doing any form of marketing. Without that, you're wasting your money or just shooting in the dark. So you really need to know who your audience is. And then, which we'll touch on a little later, is knowing how your customer will purchase, the journey that they go through to knowing more about your business, more about the destination, and what are their choices. Why would they choose your destination over another? Why would they choose choose your products over another. And knowing that allows you to then create the content to inspire them along that way and along that journey. So for me, it's knowing your audience, it's knowing who you should target, and ultimately that will determine the type of content and stories that you should be telling to those audiences.
Thank you,
I'd add
Chris.
to that,
Yeah.
Mohammed. Yeah, I think there are two questions that I think are very important when people think about a new marketing campaign that aims at growing their business. I think one is how are you envisioning your growth? Do you want to grow into new let's say new territories, and hence you want to expand your target audience? So, for example, if you are a tour operator or you present a service to people by organizing tours, do you want to specialize in a certain type of a tour and go vertically within that, and provide more of the value chain? So instead of just booking the tour, you book the accommodation and you provide the catering and you provide. So is your growth vertical? Do you want to specialize in something, or do you want to expand and offer tours in more than one city and in different types of setups? So I think that's one very important question. The second very important question, I think, before any new marketing campaign is, we know at the end the customer experience is primarily built on two things: the price and the quality. Where are you heading? Do you want to provide more of a generic quality at a more competitive pricing, or do you want to be a premium priced and hence you want to enhance your quality? I think these two questions: where do you want to go? Is it vertical or horizontal? And number two, how are you managing your equation? Your value proposition at the end is based on price and quality. How do you want to balance between those two? And what direction do you feel your brand and your business is more let's say competitive in, and you have the chance to grow in that segment?
Definitely, Khalid. So it's all about identifying your unique selling propositions, creating your positioning playground, and understanding your audience. If I would recap both what you and Chris have said. However, since you mentioned campaigns and also Chris mentioned proper content tailored to target audiences, I still want to go back to the idea of marketing being expensive. I think we have a lot to talk about. We are seeing a lot of campaigns that are $1 million campaigns in production and in media buying as well, which does scare a lot of SMEs. Does it always have to be the case? In order for marketing to succeed, does always the budget needs to be extremely high? I'll start with you, Khalid.
As I said, I think there will always be room to do fascinating big campaigns with big budgets. However, you need to be realistic when it comes to your business, and you need to be optimistic that at the end it's really the idea that makes sense. We've seen how in the past decade huge industries were disrupted by very small players who came in and disrupted the market with a new idea, with very limited budgets. In the airline industry, and since we're talking about this pandemic and how it impacted the big players in the industry, we talk today when we talk in conferences and meetings with other airlines, we actually talk about Zoom Airlines. Zoom Airlines is probably the biggest competitor to the business travel and to airlines. So today, a lot of business executives choose to do their meetings via Zoom or via Microsoft Teams or other virtual setups, and that is a direct competitor to the likes of Saudia or Lufthansa or British Airways, because that is kind of decreasing the need for them to buy tickets to go and do business meetings. So we can see that probably Zoom, I would say, in terms of marketing budget before the pandemic, did not spend much, but the occasion, they came in with the right, of course, the circumstances were favorable for them, but it really proves that it's not about a budget. I'd like to play kind of also on the local examples of success stories that we've seen. So I'd really encourage everyone in the audience to go and look at examples of like Hassa Al-Ajaji, like Yusuf Siddiq, people who were individually kind of motivated to compete in this segment of tourism and promoting Saudi culture, and really made a difference with individual efforts. I also see brands like Jabaliya, the Arabic coffee brand that is from Saudi Arabia, homegrown from Jizan, Mango Jizan. I really think that these are all examples that our SMEs should look after and seek some inspiration from them. It's not always that we get the inspiration from the likes of Saudi Airlines or from Pepsi or from Coca-Cola or from you also have a lot of great examples of small budgets that made huge impact in society and in business.
Thank you, Khalid. Chris, Khalid did touch on digital marketing and opportunities there. I would like to hear from you on what do you see the opportunities for SMEs when it comes to marketing their destinations and their product, their tourism products. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, for me, especially coming out of the wake of the pandemic, the opportunities are massive. When you think about what's happened over the last 13 months or so, many destinations, many people have been in lockdowns. They've been restricted from traveling. Restrictions are starting to open up for various destinations. So people are just dying to travel again. We've all been stuck in our homes, staring at the same four walls as we have been doing for the last 13 months. And people really want to travel. The pent-up demand is massive. And as soon as our destination opens up, you will see a huge influx of people wishing to travel to different destinations. So the opportunities are actually really, really huge at this moment in time for a lot of different destinations to tap into. If you were using some platforms like Facebook, for example, you could be targeting people within the US, within certain states, to maybe come to Saudi Arabia and target people who are interested in that destination, love some of the culture, the history that you guys have, and tap into that through Facebook. Facebook will give you those specifics, so you could target them on there and just to get them back out and get them traveling again, because people do want to travel, and that is the biggest opportunity. The only sort of downside to the opportunity is if they can travel and where they can travel to, but that is coming. The doors are going to open within the next month or two, and when they do, you see that's just going to open the floodgates.
Indeed, Chris. Khalid, thank you very much for your time and the amount of insights. It was definitely valuable for me, and I hope it was as valuable to the audience. This is the wrap of our Global Best Practice segment. Back to you, and enjoy the rest of the session.
Thanks to you all. That was an interesting discussion full of insightful views. And to sum it up, today more than ever, the customer is in control, and the digital solutions have majorly changed the rules for customer engagement. And in order to continue to acquire and retain customers, businesses must adapt to these new dynamics. Next, we would like to invite Chris Torres again to talk in depth about the plan and execution of a digital marketing strategy on a shoestring budget. Welcome back, Chris. The stage is yours.
Thank you again, and thank you everyone. It's been such an amazing event so far, and I thank you for having me along. So I want to discuss how you can market your business on a shoestring. As the poll suggested, a lot of people are worried about the budgets that you have to spend on marketing. But as I mentioned, you really don't need to spend a lot of money on this. But there's a couple of issues that I wish to talk about, or a couple of points I wish to talk about before you even think about marketing your business. And one of them is this. No, this is a current situation for a lot of businesses out there. There's too much brand and marketing clutter out there. How does your target demographic select your business or select your destination amongst the hundreds and thousands of others that are available out there? Well, one of the aspects that I truly believe that you need to go down is to change your mindset. And I'm going to give you what I believe is a truth here. And the truth is not to run a tourism business. That may seem a little odd in the context of this event, but I believe you have to change your mindset from running a tourism business to becoming a media company. And what I mean by that is if you think of all the different platforms that you have to promote on, then you basically have to create that media company mindset to be able to get in front of your customers in all the different channels that you have to be on. So by becoming a media company, it involves putting out lots of meaningful content about your niche to drive your traffic to your website or other marketing channels. So again, if you think about everything that you have to do, you have to manage your own website, you have to create inspiring articles and travel guides, you may need to produce videos, manage your reviews, everything that you would need to do to make sure that your business is marketed and promoted in the right way and to entice people along to your business and your destination. So this is why I say you need to become that media company that just happens to have a tourism product that you're trying to sell at the end of it. This is what will really set you apart from a lot of other businesses who don't change their mindset in this way. And I guarantee you, when you go down that route of becoming a media company, you will change this into this. It will allow you to stand out because you're being true to yourself. You're telling stories about your business, about your destination, about the people within your business, about the locals, etc. And that's what will make you stand out, because that's what will inspire people to come and visit your destination. The second point is to have a better understanding of the customer's purchase journey. So I'm going to quickly go through this for you. So first, there is the dreaming moment stage. So this is when your potential customer is exploring destination options and ideas with no firm plans. So at this stage, people are looking for inspiration. So have a think about what tools and platforms that they use, what type of content inspires them, and what are they searching for. Then there's a planning moment stage. When your potential customer has chosen the destination, they're now looking for dates, the right flight, the right places to stay, and all the activities and experiences that they want to do while they're there. Again, have a think about the tools and platforms that they may use. Then there's a booking moment stage. So when your potential customer has completed their research and they're now ready to book their tickets and reserve their rooms. Again, think about the platforms that they may use. Experiencing moments. When your customer's trip is underway, travelers are now ready to live that trip they've been dreaming about for so long, especially after the last 12 months, and they want to share that with others. How do they interact with your business, with the locals in your area, or with people within a tour if they're in a group tour with strangers? And then there's a sharing moment stage, when your customer shares content and their experiences during and post-trip on social media with friends and family, with work colleagues. Do they use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, and all the other platforms you can think that your customers may be on? So dreaming moment stage is where to go, what to do, what to see, and what to experience. They may be doing Google searches, looking on social media, looking at videos on YouTube, and reading inspiring blogs and travel guides. Then there's the planning moments where they're selecting the dates to travel, the types of experiences they wish to take out. Is it going to be a day or multi-day trip? The types of accommodation, and then ultimately who to book with. Again, they'll be using Google search. They'll be looking on your website. They'll be looking at social media for social proof about your business, looking at other online travel agents, maybe Airbnb and all these other places as well that people would go onto. Then there's a booking moment stage. So they've selected a short list of the businesses and activities they wish to contact. They've been looking at the best price, the best value, best experience, and also the ease of booking, which is very important. Again, looking at your website, having your own website to target particular people and get them onto your products and your experiences and tell more about your business is absolutely key. Again, they may look at online travel agents and traditional travel agents. And then there's experiencing moments. So they're out in the destination, enjoying that experience. Their expectations are being met, and they're taking lots of photographs and videos. Then they're obviously getting a great customer service. You are delivering that experience and going above and beyond. Then there's a sharing while in destination, sharing while they're back home, talking to their friends and family, which is word of mouth, and leaving reviews. Again, through social media, talking with friends and family, and with work colleagues. So let me give you an example of someone called Heather. Heather is Scottish. She lives in Scotland. And she's wishing to go on a family holiday and is torn between Saudi Arabia and staying in Scotland. She's searching for things to do for her kids in both destinations. Heather is also deciding if she wants to go self-catering or have everything taken care of in some sort of resort. So again, looking at the journey, she's wishing a family holiday. She's trying to choose between Scotland and Saudi Arabia. Things must be done with the kids. She's looking for self-accommodation or a resort. So she's searching on Google. She's maybe clicking on some search ads, reading reviews. She's maybe gone off, done other things. Life has got in the way. Went onto her Facebook feed, saw an ad for one of the businesses that she visited, and she clicked on the ad, which brought her back to that business. So she's decided at the planning moment stage that she's now doing a 14-day trip. She has selected Saudi Arabia and she wishes to stay in a villa. And she's selected a few experiences, one being a desert experience because she knows the kids would love that. She's been looking at company websites, reading travel blogs and guides, and looking at Facebook pages as well. So she's now booked accommodation through booking.com. She's booking activities direct with local businesses, and she booked some attractions with TripAdvisor. Again, using a company's website, TripAdvisor, but everything's booked online and communicated by email. She's sharing photographs while she's in destination. She has an amazing tour guide, and she was given a welcome pack at the property, which really heightened that experience for her, and sharing everything over Facebook and Instagram. So when she's sharing her experience with her family and friends when she's back home, she's now leaving reviews for that company, and she's now posting up videos on social media that she's taken out during her time. Again, using Facebook, Instagram, and it just so happens one of her friends were inspired, and she booked that trip too. So platforms you really must be on, and hopefully you saw that within that customer journey. You really need to have your own website. I would suggest two of the biggest platforms in tourism are Facebook and Instagram. So those are two platforms you really need to be on. And I know some of you may be thinking, well, what about WhatsApp? Now, WhatsApp is a lot bigger in terms of communicating with consumers and businesses within places like Saudi Arabia, Africa, and a few other places. But if you're targeting international, like the UK, the US, and some European destinations, WhatsApp is not used that often when coming into communication with travel businesses. Email is actually the best option, or maybe even a phone call. Now, the reason why I say this, and I make a point of this, is it's not to force your potential customers to use platforms that you that you would use personally yourself. That it's just because of convenience. You really need to go to the platforms where your customers are and go to them. Don't force them to come to you, because you'll never win, or you'll never get customers that way. So how can you market to these customers within that journey for free? Well, it all really comes down to content. For me, content wins hands down. Now, this should all be stories that you should tell about yourselves, your businesses, the destinations, the locals in the area, things to really inspire people along to your destination. So that may be blogs, travel guides, videos. Social media plays a part in that as well. But I'm going to talk about video. For me, video is hands down one of the best marketing tools you can use, because you can really get across in a really easy, meaningful way everything about your destination, everything about your business, and the stories that you can tell. It's a lot more engaging. So I'm going to give an example of one business. So they have an owner who's an archaeology expert, as a tour guide as well. They have a tour guide who's a diving expert but happens to speak German. And they have a tour guide which is a food tour expert and knows everything there is to do about coffee. So we're looking at some of the skill sets that these guys have. So let's have a look a little bit deeper. So the owner has historic tours and has good connections in the area. One of the tour guides knows many of the hidden diving sites in the area and manages German tours, and is also a licensed instructor. The other tour guide knows everything about coffee and traditional food. So let's look at one of the tour guides. One of the tour guides is a diving expert, speaks German, knows many of the hidden diving sites, and manages German-speaking tours. So when you have a think about content, whether in written or video form, he could be creating a video series about diving in the Red Sea. He could be creating another one called The Hidden Diving Sites Around Saudi Arabia. Or maybe a German's guide to Saudi Arabia as well, which is all in German. Again, these could be blogs, these could be travel guides, or these could be videos to really engage those people towards your destination. And you can use that video to then create 100 pieces of content from that one video. So you could create a 2 to 3 minute video on diving, You can then re-edit that to 2 1-minute videos, 4 30-second videos, and 6 15-second videos, and then it could be all published on the various platforms that allow those sort of lengths. You could then take, again, from that same video, some stills and quotes that could be used on social media, and maybe even some animated GIFs. And depending on the video you're using, if visuals are not really that important and it could be understood with just audio alone, you can extract that audio and then create a podcast series which can go onto all the major podcast platforms as well. So by using one story, one video, one campaign, you can create over 100 days worth of content from that one video by posting one per day on each of the various platforms. So this is just to help highlight that you could repurpose content that you create. You don't need to keep reinventing the wheel all the time. But ultimately, it comes down to story. It's about the stories that you tell. Tell the stories of your destinations, the stories of yourselves, the stories of your tour guides, the staff within your business, and the locals within your area, and that will really drive people towards your destination, drive people toward your business, and hopefully get some of those bookings you're all craving. So I want to leave you now with just some takeaways. So the first takeaway would be that you really do need to have your own website. Your own website is proof, a social proof for people looking for businesses and looking for more information about businesses to make sure that you are a reputable company. I call a website your trust builder. It helps instill trust in your customers' eyes. Becoming that media company, as I mentioned, is one of the next major points. You really do need to become a media company to stay in touch with your customers, to inspire them to your destinations, to your businesses, but also get in front of some of your competitors. Because ultimately, if they're not doing it and you are, you will jump ahead in terms of getting in front of those customers. But also understanding the customer journey. Have a better understanding how they purchase, the tools that they will use, and that will help you determine the types of content that you can create to inspire them along that journey towards your own business. And also go where your customers are. Don't force them to come to platforms that you use just because it's convenient to you. So go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Snapchat, TikTok, wherever your customers are, go to those platforms and inspire them across to your destination and your brand. But ultimately tell a story. Again, telling a story. Stories of what tourism businesses do day in, day out. You guys tell stories to your customers all the time. It's about inspiring people, and stories really do inspiring people. And with the rich culture that Saudi Arabia has, you have a plenty of stories to tell. So I'm sure you'll be able to inspire lots and lots of people to your destination. As one last key takeaway, is for everyone here and everyone in the audience, I'm actually giving a digital copy of my book, Lookers into Bookers, absolutely free. So the guys here will allow you to get access to that, but it's a 400-page book about how you can market your business to various destinations and steps that you need to take to becoming that media company. And I hope it's going to be useful for your business.
Such a wonderful video of Asir, mountainous beauty, fresh weather, and rich cultural heritage. So next, our speakers, Khalid and Chris, are joining us again for the panel discussion. First of all, I would like to thank you all for submitting questions. We will pick the questions with highest interaction, and we will try our best to answer as much as we can with the time left. So the top question we have been asked today, I'll start with the Arabic question. كيف تحدد منافسيك المباشرين في سوق العمل? How can you identify your immediate competitors in the marketplace? Khalid, to start with you.
Very good question. So let me try to answer a little bit in Arabic just to ensure it's not lost in translation. So المنافسين اليوم اعتقد انه خرجوا عن الاطار التقليدي، يعني المفروض انه البزنس ما يطالع فقط في الناس اللي يقدموا خدمه مشابهه او مطابقه للخدمه اللي انت بتقدمها او المنتج اللي انت بتقدمه. لازم نطالع في الفاليو تشين كله. السياحه عباره عن تجربه متكامله من يعني خدمات ومنتجات عديده. الحلقه كامله. يعني انا اليوم لما ابغى اروح الى العلا، تجربتي في العلا هي معتمده يعني بشكل كبير على اضعف حلقه في المنظومه الكامله. يعني لو الفندق كويس، لو الطيران كويس، بس الاكل مو كويس، انا يعني تجربتي بالكامل راح تتاثر. فانصح الشباب اللي معانا اليوم اللي عندهم يعني يقودوا بزنسز صغيره ومتوسطه في قطاع السياحه، انهم يطالعوا في المنظومه بشكل كامل، يطالع في كل ما يؤثر على تجربه العميل، يتعاونوا مع الاخرين. فهذا من جانب. النظره الشموليه لتجربه العميل وليس فقط المنافس المباشر. النقطة الثانية والأهم، دائما أسمع وهذا أعتقد أنه يعني مؤشر يعني خطر شوية. دائما أسمع أنه إحنا قطاع سياحة جديد عندنا، افتح مطعم كل الناس حيجوك، افتح بزنس كل الناس يعني حتنجح بغض النظر عن الجودة وعن تنافسية السعر وهذه النظرة لسوق المنافسة في قطاع السياحة أعتقد أنها قاصرة. No, competition is there. We are actually not only competing with those who are providing services in Al-Ula or in As-Suda or in Riyadh, in Dir'iyah. We are competing with the world. People are choosing whether to come to Saudi Arabia or to go to other places in the region or in the world. So we need to have a more broader look at our competitive landscape. We need to look at what is happening in the world. What can we do better? How can we learn? And how can we be more competitive versus our international benchmarks, not only our local benchmarks?
As you said, Khalid, broader look. Chris, do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, no, from my point of view, no, everything that was mentioned there that I did understand in English, obviously, was completely correct. But I would also add to that to say, you know, one of the main competitors isn't those businesses that are maybe similar to yours or within the same sphere. Your main competitor is actually people's time. No, people have the time that they have to spend on an activity or visiting a destination or whatever. No, you've got to think about what they're going to do with that time. Do they want to go to a restaurant? Do they want to spend time with their family? Do they want to go to the cinema? Or do they want to take out a tour or activity or spend a weekend away somewhere? So to have a think about the competition, not just in terms of businesses that are similar to yourself. It's how you're going to persuade them to give up their time to do something in your destination or with your business, other than some other activity that they could be doing elsewhere that's maybe not tourism related. So it's not just about those within your area, it's about time as well.
Remember, we talked about Zoom Airlines as a competitor to the traditional airlines. So yes, it's about the time, it's about the experience. It's not only the direct competitor. It's who can replace and make your business go obsolete sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, there is a question regarding data, and data is key. And it's crucial to get precise information to achieve a 360-degree view of the customer. What type of data should be taken into consideration when creating a digital marketing strategy? To start with you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. You would basically want to try and collect as much data as you possibly can. No, many businesses even today struggle with even collecting a name or an email address, the absolute basics that you would want to use to maybe email someone or market to them through Facebook by collecting those details. No, start with the absolute basics, but get as much information as you possibly can. It's harder these days because of, especially now with Mac OS and Facebook and all these things that are starting to stop tracking as much data as you used to be able to, and Google's going to go down that same route as well. So a lot of businesses will now need to start thinking about having digital waivers and all these different things as well to help capture even more data from their customers so they can get whether they're male or female, their age groups, what are their likes and wants and everything else as well. So the more data that you can collect, the better it will be, and the better your marketing will be, because you'll make better informed decisions in terms of what your content you're going to create, how you're going to talk to them in terms of marketing, and how you're going to attract them to your destination. So even though it's getting harder and harder to collect data, there is ways and means that you can still do that through things like digital waivers, like I mentioned.
Okay. Well, there's a question for Khalid. In your view, what are the essential tools and strategies to maintain your position at the top of your field through digital marketing, especially in recent times?
Very important question, and I think I'd like to link that back to data, because Chris talked about the data that we use in terms of reaching our target audience. But I think also there's a lot of data that we need to capture and we need to focus on that helps us build our business decisions. And I cannot think of a more important data point that every business, no matter how small or big, needs to make sure that they are capturing from day one, which is NPS, Net Promoter Score. Every business needs to continuously ask its customers how likely are they going to recommend, because that's the ultimate, let's say, question or data point that proves to me, am I successful? Am I doing this right or not? If people are willing to recommend my business or my product or service to others, then it means I've succeeded in providing them the right value, the right experience, the right product, the right service, etc. And I was successful. So as I think about how do I sustain my competitive advantage, how do I grow, how do I become better, NPS is really, really important. And it's the beauty of NPS. It's used by the biggest brands in the world and the smallest brands in the world. Even if you are a small and medium business, actually, this is probably one of the points that investors will ask you if you want to raise funds and expand your business. They're going to ask you, what's your NPS like? In NPS, the beauty of it is that it's very simple. You can ask people, in airports, restaurants, etc. They used to have those smiley faces. So from the grumpy face to the neutral face to the happy face, that's basically NPS. Are you happy or not? Would you recommend me or not? And when looking at NPS, we need to look at who are the people who are giving me, who are the promoters. Am I succeeding in winning the loyalty and the affinity of mothers, of families, of kids, so I need to understand who is most satisfied with my product and build on that audience. I also need to understand why are the detractors, as we call them, those who are saying, no, I'm not recommending it. I need to analyze that so I can build my business plans, my marketing plans accordingly.
So just to say it in few words, the data you collect should be analyzed in order for you to understand the digital actions and users' behaviors and to know the strategies that are not working out and keep the ones that actually bring you profit, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. What changes have you seen in the past years in the digital marketing world, Chris?
Yeah. There's been lots of changes, especially now, as I just mentioned there, with iOS and Facebook. The amount of data you can track is becoming less. No, you're still able to track to a certain extent, but no, you're not allowed to track as much data, at least now, without the express permission of the consumer, which is the right move, to be honest. Yeah, although it's a nightmare from a marketing company's point of view, but from a consumer's point of view, it's absolutely the right decision to make. Let them be in control of where their data goes. So that is the biggest change that's happened over the last year. But there's been many changes, just even within tourism itself. No, when you think of the last 12, 13 months, no, the technology has literally accelerated by 10 years because of everything that's going on. No, if you think about the over 60s market, no, if I had a thought 12 months ago that my mother would be using WhatsApp or being on Facebook, I would have laughed. But now she's doing that. She's doing online shopping. She's doing her online banking because she's had to do that and to stay in touch with family and friends. So if anything, the over 60s market is actually going to become a bigger market going forward for tourism businesses to focus on and to target, because they are going to be more digital savvy and be on more platforms. So that's been one of the biggest changes that I've seen, one of the biggest shifts.
Khalid, do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, well, I bet my mom, Chris, is better than your mom in terms of digital savviness. But it's a very true insight. It's amazing how these times have forced people to become digitally savvy. God, what has not changed, I think, in the digital sphere over the past few years, and it could be overwhelming. الواحد ممكن يحس إنه يضيع في ظل التغيرات هذه. It could be overwhelming to just keep track of what's changing and what new platforms are coming up, and I think it might be counterproductive to kind of focus on just tracking what is changing and trying to cope with that. Let's focus on what has not changed. And I think what has not changed is what Chris talked about, the fundamentals about the journey of the customer, that they first dream about something, they start planning for it, they start acting upon it, and then they want to share it. And the common thread across all of them is content. Content is king. When we say content is king, it is really the backbone of any business today and any marketing strategy, especially when we talk about digital marketing strategies. Content is king. One very important thought, I think, related to content and how Saudi tourism marketing strategies and plans can be more effective is the idea of languages. How many times have we personally or our families went through an experience where we went to a new country where we don't speak the language, and we felt such a relief when we found someone who speaks Arabic or speaks English and could provide us with the insight into what restaurants should we go to, what sites should we visit, etc. The world is now looking at Saudi Arabia in the same way. People are not sure about where to go, what to eat, what to wear, where to spend their time. Should I go to a hotel or an apartment, etc. And I think the true competitive advantage that will emerge in the coming few years is those businesses that will be able to provide the right content in the right languages to our target audience. Let's not forget that not all our tourists are people who are Arabic speakers or English speakers. We are targeting tourists from Asia. We're targeting tourists from Central Europe, from other countries in Europe, from Africa, from Latin America. So we need to provide to them this content in as many languages as possible.
I'll close with that. Thank you, Khalid Tash and Chris Torres, for joining us today and sharing your rich experiences. Thank you for your time. Such a pleasure for me to moderate this session with you. لجميع الحضور والمهتمين في مجال السياحة، تم تصميم هذه المبادرة، مبادرة صناع السياحة، وفقاً لاحتياجاتكم ومتطلباتكم، وإن شاء الله نكون عند حسن الظن وأيضاً عند حسن تطلعاتكم. لدينا سؤال نود أن نختم به. ما هو تقييمك لندوة اليوم؟ هناك خيارات لا ترتبط بوضعي الحالي، مرتبطة بوضعي الحالي لكنها ليست مثيرة للاهتمام ولكنها غير قابلة للتطبيق. قدمت أفكاراً ورؤى يمكن تطبيقها في المستقبل، قدمت أفكاراً ورؤى يمكن تطبيقها فوراً. إذن بهذا نكون قد وصلنا إلى نهاية ندوتنا اليوم، وهي الندوة الثالثة من سلسلة ندوات صناع السياحة، إحدى مبادرات الهيئة السعودية للسياحة. أود أن أشكر جميع الحضور على وقتهم وتفاعلهم، وأشكر ضيوفنا على مشاركتنا أفكارهم وتجاربهم القيمة، وأيضاً الشكر موصول لجميع منسوبي والقائمين على هذه المبادرة من الهيئة السعودية للسياحة. حابين نشارككم الندوة القادمة بتكون إن شاء الله في الثاني من شهر يونيو، وسنناقش فيها خلق التجارب الفريدة في قطاع السياحة. أتوقع أنه موضوع مهم ويعني يثير اهتمام الجميع، خاصة المهتمين في هذا القطاع. انضموا إلينا في الندوة القادمة لنجدد اللقاء والحوار والاستفادة. لكم مني أطيب تحية وإلى اللقاء.